Hi, you're listening to Burn Beautiful, a podcast for women ready to step into their divine feminine leadership so they can create a life of joy, health, and impact beyond their wildest dreams. Here, you'll learn how to heal stress from the inside out, reclaim your vibrant health, and master your energy so you can lead powerfully without burning out and actually enjoy the moments that matter most in this one beautiful and precious life. I'm Nicole Whitaker, burnout and leadership coach, founder of Lead Up Health, and creator of the HERS method. Welcome. Hello, and welcome back to Burn Beautiful, the podcast where we talk about what it really takes to live, to lead, and to love without burning out, and to do it with heart. I'm your host, Nicole Whitaker, leadership and well-being coach, mom of 3 wonderful daughters, and founder of Lead Up Health. And today we're going to dive into one of my favorite topics, although it was not always my favorite topic, and that is gratitude. We're not going to talk about the surface level kind, but we're going to really talk about the kind that rewires your heart, your brain, and your leadership and your parenting. And specifically, we're going to talk about the transformational effects of gratitude and how to cultivate it in a meaningful way, both within yourself, but also with your kids at home, even within your marriage, and as a leader in the workplace. Gratitude is widely talked about, all of its benefits. I think it's a hot topic, but I will say that for a long time, I honestly just did not get it. I was a major skeptic. First of all, I had tried it. I was like, oh, gratitude is supposed to make you happier and less stressed. Sign me up. And so I tried a gratitude journal, things of that nature. And honestly, it didn't do anything for me. I also experienced a gratitude structure at work that I felt did more harm than good. And so I was really just a major skeptic, and my eyes would kind of glaze over when folks brought up the topic of gratitude. So if you can relate to any of that, or if you haven't experienced a very powerful shift in your emotions and your stress, when you practice gratitude, I get that. I am right there with you. And I hope that you hang until the end, because I can honestly say that once I really understood how to practice gratitude, I finally got what people meant when they said, "Oh, it can single-handedly change your life," because it has single-handedly changed my life, and it will for you as well. And I'm going to talk about simple ways that you likely have not heard of that will help you to practice gratitude in a way that is actually transformational. Not only am I substantially happier each day because of how I practice gratitude, but I have also seen how gratitude practice, if done right, can really shift a work culture, can increase joy and compassion with kids and with family, and even within a marriage. So, we're going to talk about all of that today. What real gratitude is, what effective gratitude is versus just noise. We're going through the motions and simple but effective ways to cultivate gratitude personally, at work, and with your kids and partner at home. So before we jump in, I do want to share the stats because it is kind of incredible what gratitude can do. When done right, gratitude isn't just a nice idea, it's neuroscience. So, studies show that regular gratitude practice can increase happiness and life satisfaction by up to 25%, while reducing symptoms of anxiety and depression by about 20%. Brain imaging actually reveals that it activates the same reward centers as joy and connection. So, that's literally rewiring us for resilience. I don't know about you, but I want that. And I want that for my kids and those around me. Sounds great. Speaking of kids, for kids, gratitude grows empathy and confidence. So, research from UC Berkeley's Youth Gratitude Project found that grateful youth are 15% more hopeful and 25% more satisfied with their lives and report less envy, and depression than their peers. Now, if you're familiar with the mental health data on kids, I'm talking about young kids as well as adolescents, it is scary. As a parent, it scares me. And so when I hear these statistics on gratitude, I'm like, yes, I really want to cultivate gratitude in my children. I want them to be hopeful, satisfied, and less envious and depressed. And in leadership and teams, gratitude is a strategy. And I want you to really hear this. It is not a side thing or something to layer on. It is a core strategy if you are a leader. Workplace studies show that employees who feel regularly appreciated are 31% more productive and they are 40% more engaged and less likely to burn out or quit. And so when you think about, if you're a leader or, a team member and you have a colleague who maybe isn't producing as much or as well, or they feel kind of disengaged, um, gratitude is a legitimate strategy to consider when thinking about how to support this person that you are leading or managing. So, we're going to talk about gratitude first individually, because of course it starts within us before we can impact our kids or those that we lead. Then we're going to talk about it in places of work and then what it can look like within your home. And so we'll talk about the concept of it, but very concrete, simple strategies that you can put in place. So let's go ahead and start by talking about how to cultivate real, authentic gratitude within ourselves as an individual practice. So, again, I did not understand the hype about gratitude. I truly did not get it. I thought it was ineffective. And the biggest thing that I was getting wrong about gratitude is that I had forgotten that gratitude is not actually action based. And what I mean by that is that it's not about the action of writing a gratitude journal. It's not about the action of listing everything that I'm thankful for, or saying thank you, or writing thank you notes. It's not about any of that. And of course, growing up, we were taught that. We were taught to be polite, say thank you. Don't forget to write your thank you notes. Be grateful. Look at all of that you have compared to everybody else. You should be so thankful. Should, right? And it's not that. Of course, we want to be polite, and that's very important. But when it comes at shoulds and when it's focused on action, it's missing the part of gratitude that is what is actually healing, what is actually going to reduce depression and anxiety and increase happiness, because that type of gratitude comes from emotions, right? Our emotions are what drive us to act. When we think about, our goals in life, I want to lose pounds, however many pounds, I want to be successful. What's underneath all of that is we want to feel a certain way. And so similarly, we want to feel confident. We want to feel like we're worthy. And so similarly with gratitude, we've got to be working with gratitude on the emotional and energetic level, right? It's not about being polite if we want to live those statistics. So what is it then? What is real gratitude? Well, there are multiple ways to access it, and I'll give you a little starter, starter kit here in a moment. But what it really is it's experiencing awe and wonder. It is energetic. So, my real gratitude journey began when I started working energetically with my heart. I didn't even call it gratitude at that time, but that's what it was. And so, this is when I learned how to breathe into my heart, how to feel my heart center. And you can go ahead and do that now. Breathe into your heart, feel that physical, but also emotional space in your chest. And then when I would start practicing, learning how to hold a positive emotion or feeling there. So, picturing a time in my life or something that brought me joy or contentment, where I felt whole. So, maybe looking out at the ocean, Or if you're a parent, the moment that you held your child for the first time, or if you're a dog mom, that time when you get to snuggle up with your dog. But just feeling that and holding that in your heart center is where the doors begin to open for a impactful gratitude practice. Um, and a prerequisite for this, it's really tough. But the reality is a prerequisite for this is stillness and is presence. So that means actually taking a few silent beats to be still and to notice beauty in nature, to breathe into your heart. And so, some very specific examples of how my own gratitude evolved, and I want to share because I think it could map out the evolution if you're new to kind of building this emotional aspect of gratitude. Um, One practice I have each morning, because my child gets me up at the crack of dawn when it is dark outside, is I have made a practice of looking at the sunrise coming through my back window and taking 3 seconds to just letting on water take over. That sunrise looks different every day and it's beautiful. Just taking a few moments to breathe that in. Now, when I first started this practice, it would literally bring tears to my eyes because I had been opening up my heart. And once that happened, because I was practicing that space, practicing taking a beat, I would then be able to move that throughout the day. Right. So, for example, I have a meditation practice. And when I open up my eyes for meditating, being struck by the beauty of nature, I've been doing it outside. Right. Or when I tuck my kids in, I'll take just a few seconds to step out of that moment of my action of putting them to bed and being an observer, like hovering over and just being like, look how cute they are. Look at their cute little faces. Look at their little voices. And just take a moment to think in my heart center, "Ugh, I am the luckiest." So, what happens is when we start doing these little practices, this gratitude is less about specific things, which that is great as well, but it becomes a gratitude for life itself. And so, I use the Peloton for my exercise. And so if you're familiar with that, Robin Arzon is one of the instructors. And she's always like, you should be grateful you woke up today. And legit, I wake up and I'm like, I woke up today. I'm excited. This is great. I woke up today. And this comes from like being able to have that perspective of impermanence. And so what I mean by that is this recognition that life is short, it's not going to last forever. That sounds like won't negative at first, but it actually is a starting place for gratitude. Kids really help with this. For me, if you have kids or if you know kids, children grow up so quickly. My oldest is 8. I'm like, oh my gosh, in a year she'll be 9. And that means she's halfway through her time with me. And that sounds sad, but what it actually does is there's an understanding with how precious each moment is, how grateful I am that she is with me now and I have the time with her. Now, every day does not feel like this in every moment. Sometimes I want to scream, right? Like as all parents do. But seeding this, like having little moments of remembering this is a real way of opening up true and meaningful gratitude because everything that is precious about life is impermanent. It's not going to be like this forever. And remembering that from time to time allows gratitude to really bubble up and have these transformational effects on joy and happiness. So, the final thing I'll say about individual gratitude here, and I'll give you some quick starter steps, is that it can also turn into thankfulness for something painful. This is definitely harder to cultivate. And by the way, it's not like I'm experiencing this all day, every day, right? It's about moments, having increased moments of this. But I have been able to look at some hard moments in my life and be able to feel true gratitude towards this. And we are able to do this, or you will be able to do this when you take the long view. And you can look back in the past and think about all those real crappy times, right? That time that boyfriend you were in love with at the time broke up with you, the time you lost your job. And years later, you can kind of see how that moment was actually a stepping stone, a critical stepping stone to where you are now. And it's kind of like one of those connect the dots pictures that children have. And so, it's like you don't see the picture in the moment, but when you zoom out, you're like, oh my gosh, I connected the dots and it made this dot. Well, it's like in the moment, it can be hard to see it. But when you look back, you're like, oh wow, that's what led me here. I'm so thank God that, toxic boyfriend broke up with me, right? Thank God. Um, so this you can cultivate gratitude for it in the moment when you have that deep knowing, that belief that the universe or God or whatever your belief is, it has your back, right? You have that faith and that trust. And so you can say, thank you for this moment and for what it's going to teach me. For me right now, there's been some hard moments in my business, quite frankly. And so I can say, thank you. I have trust that this is going to lead somewhere. I don't know where, but it's going to lead somewhere. And I can also say, thank you. This is a reminder to me, a constant reminder that I need that guess what? My success, my output has nothing to do with my worth. And so when I look at the painful moments from that perspective, I can also experience gratitude in that way. So if you're new to this, here's a quick, how to start activating gratitude at that emotional level. The first is to start by opening up your heart by having just a 3-minute practice of breathing into your heart center, deep breaths into your heart center. And as you do that, I want you to bring to mind something that brings you joy. Again, the ocean, someone you love, mountains, whatever it is that does it for you, and thank it. I promise you that if you do this for 3 minutes for 3 days in a row, you will notice an emotional change. Um, and then, as I shared in my story, once you have that down, now take a few seconds throughout the day. When you end a Zoom call, I want you to take 3 beats, look out the window, notice something beautiful, right? It is about building in just little pauses for you to zoom out of the moment, look at it, and feel emotional gratitude or appreciation towards something. And so something to consider today, or at the end of the day today, ask yourself, what was a moment today that made you pause in awe and wonder? So now that we've talked about how to cultivate that individual gratitude, and once you do this, it's going to start emanating out from you regardless of these structures I'm going to talk about next at work and at home. So let's now talk about gratitude in the workplace, because how you express gratitude with others, with your colleagues, with those you lead, really can improve outcomes. It can improve productivity, and it can improve things like stress levels and also retention. And I want to talk about this workplace gratitude by talking about two different gratitude structures that were very different. So the first one I was in my 20s, I was still in the classroom, and we had this structure where on Fridays after school, we were exhausted, we'd huddle up and we'd get in a big circle and we would pass around an object, and everybody had to participate and say thank you. I think you might have been able to pass, but it's like you're not going to pass or you're going to be the only one, you know? And so what would happen is a few things. One, for me, someone who had social anxiety, I would be in my head the whole time, like, what am I going to say? Who am I going to thank? Oh, so and so thanked me. Do I need to thank them? I don't want them to feel left out. All of these things. And so the structure was actually creating some anxiety, social anxiety for me. The second piece is that what ended up happening is the same people would get thanked over and over again. And it was not necessarily because they actually did better things or more things. Different roles have different levels of visibility. So someone who was more behind the scenes wasn't getting that recognition. And it tended to be this group, like it was almost like high school again, like the in group, the popular group that would be thanked the most and would do the most talking. Okay. So it kind of turned into a popularity contest. Some people hog the mic, etc. On top of that, it was done on a Friday when we were exhausted and quite frankly, I just wanted to go home. Okay. So this is why in the workplace, I was like, Psh, gratitude, this it doesn't not effective. Now I'm going to contrast that now to what was a more effective gratitude structure that came out of my last place of work. So this structure came out of an engagement survey that at the time I was leading a ways of working initiative within the team, which was about improving team communication and culture. And we would look at the data and we kind of collaboratively identified that a gratitude structure might help address some of the numbers we were seeing in this engagement survey. And so a team member whom I managed at the time stepped up to run it. And this structure that she created was very effective. It was a 5-minute structure that happened during meeting times. So it didn't go on and on and on like that last structure. It happened during time we already had saved. And it was ran so that we kept track of who was thanked, the names on there. So this encouraged inclusion, right? We could see, oh, Kate was thanked twice last time. I'm going to thank somebody else, right? And so it kind of that within itself dissolved that social anxiety that is everyone going to get thanked and what can naturally happen if something like that isn't in place, which is people with more visible roles getting more gratitude. Um and it was you didn't have to it was volunteer. It wasn't like everyone had to go, and so the pressure was off and you could be more genuine and authentic. And so this was a great structure, didn't take up too much time, didn't create social anxiety, wasn't forced, and allowed for spread sharing of the love. And so this is an example of a powerful structure. The final thing I want to say about gratitude is that these structures are great. And if you don't have a structure in place or you're not in a position where you could implement one, it really just looks like acknowledging someone's unique gifts and vocalizing them, right? Seeing someone's effort, someone's behind the scene effort, their heart, their dedication, and acknowledging it. Because, there's that saying that says, oh, everyone's dispensable at work. And yeah, I get it. There are a lot of great people out there. But at the human level, that simply is not true. There is no one that has your exact unique talents and gifts. There is no, same with the people that you manage. They are their own unique person who brings something that is irreplaceable. And so we want to acknowledge that, so thinking about the people that I managed, I have one woman who she was great at team building and planning events. And I thanked her for that. Thank you so much. A, that's not my skill set. And B, that is such an add value that she uniquely brings. Another was fabulous at managing multiple complex timelines across projects. Same thing. I'm not good at that. Thank you so much for organizing this, And so this goes back to a previous episode on the belonging, but just really being sure that you see your people and you vocalize truly the work that they see, that they do, especially if it's invisible labor, but the skill set, the unique value that they bring. So something for you to consider today is, who on your team might need to be feel seen today? Who's doing some of that like behind the scene logistics that doesn't get acknowledged a lot or who brings a unique gift that, you want to vocalize? Okay, so let's shift one more final time and talk about how gratitude plays out in parenting and how we can cultivate that deep sense of gratitude in our kids because, again, thinking back to those statistics about how gratitude can combat envy or depression and create hope, and given the state of mental health with our kids, this is such a place where I know that parents and myself as a parent want to be able to support our kids. So, one thing that is ineffective that I most certainly do, and I think every parent does it. Let me know if you don't, is the whole like, you should be so thankful for what you have. And I'll catch myself doing it and I know it's ineffective. But this is like the whole, even just the other day when my kid didn't finish what was on her plate because she didn't like the meal, right? She didn't like the spaghetti. It's like I caught myself saying, do you know that some kids don't even have food? You're so lucky you get, you're so lucky you have a meal when they're complaining. And it's like as I'm saying it, I'm like, this is ineffective. Um, so it comes out, but this is just a highlight that, that of course is not going to be the way to cultivate that heart-centered emotional gratitude. But got to give myself some grace. I think hopefully every parent does that from time to time. So the first step is, and this is going to sound contrary to what I said before, I do think with kids, one of the first steps is to just get them in the practice of it. And so it is more action based. And there are a bunch of different ways you can do this. Writing thank you notes. One way that I have done it before that my kids loved is having a gratitude jar. So you take this jar or container and you cut up a bunch of strips of paper, let the kids do it, and then you put a pen in there. And then at dinner or at some structured time, you all take a strip of paper out and you write down what you're grateful for. And then you put it in the jar. And what we've done in the past is we save it to have a gratitude party where we pull out the strips and, it's so fun. You could save it for, Thanksgiving, or we did it. I think we had like a chocolate party or something fun like that. Um, and what I like about this is that it just, it's kids, depending on where they are developmentally, anything goes. So if a kid writes down, I'm so thankful you gave me 3 pieces of candy, great. Developmentally, that might be appropriate if they're super young. But it kind of gets their mindset, it gets them in the mindset of looking for what's good, right? Because we know that people actually have a negativity bias, meaning it's easier for us to see and remember what is wrong or what is negative. It's a survival thing. We're just wired that way. So this shifts the script a little bit, right? Where it has kids looking for what's good and then writing it down is, that action actually cements it into their mind. And it's fun. So that is one strategy. So where it's really at, just like it is for adults, is same for kids, is how to cultivate that gratitude on an emotional level. And that starts with wonder and awe. Now, the good news is kids already have this. And so all we have to do is cultivate it, allow for it, and encourage it. So, for example, one of my daughters the other day was looking at a caterpillar. Now, what I wanted to say was, Sienna, get inside. It's dinner time. Do this, and that. Because we're always in a rush to do something. But instead, I was able to go up to her and say, crouch down with her and say, wow, look at that caterpillar. Look at look at the yellow fuzzy spot on its back. Just talking to her about it, letting her say something. And then saying something like, "Isn't that amazing?" And then depending on where you are, like, whatever your point of view is, isn't it amazing that God created this creature or that, the universe or that this creature exists, whatever your belief system is? Wow. And that's creating that awe and wonder at that emotional level. A second strategy at that emotional level is, and this is a phrase that I just love. I heard it somewhere and I've been using it all the time. It is great, which is, aren't we so lucky? Or aren't we the luckiest? And so I'm going to give you 3 ways that I use this that I think is really cultivating that appreciation in my kids. Which the first is when we're having a moment with our family and it's just great. which I'm not, there are plenty of rough moments. But when we have those moments where it's like, wow, like we're this is working, this whole family thing, saying things like, gosh, we are so lucky, aren't we? There is so much love in this family, something like that. And then saying it to my kids about how I feel about them. And this is so many things in addition to cultivating gratitude, but saying, I am so lucky that I get to be your mom. Oh my gosh, I am the absolute luckiest. And that does wonders for her feeling her sense of you know, safety and security, that unconditional love. And it shows that gratitude. And then another one is to express that gratitude towards my partner in front of my kids. So, like this, my husband, I can't fix things worth whatever. And so he's always fixing things. And so when he does that, I'm like, aren't we so lucky that daddy knows how to fix things? I'm so lucky that I get to have him for a partner that he fixes things. Um, and so just that phrase. And so something that you could reflect on is just, where did your kids show you some wonder this week? And where can you encourage that? Or where do you want to slip in a aren't we lucky statement? So the last piece I'll say is gratitude in marriage. This has been a game changer. I'll say um, part of my husband and I, although we didn't do it this Friday, now that I'm thinking about it, we relatively consistently have a State of the Union where we get together and just share like three things we're grateful for and then where we need support. And then if there's anything, an issue, we bring it up. But what's been really helpful about this is that just like all of the other feelings out there, we're busy. And so it can feel both like he doesn't see all that work that I do, right? What we call as women, we talk a lot about handling invisible labor, the emotions of the kids, teacher correspondence, shoe size, etc. And this practice helps me to see, oh, my husband does see what I do, you know? And then conversely, we're going through the day, this and that. I can sometimes it can feel uneven. And when I think of three things I'm grateful for that he's done that week, it is similarly helpful. Like, oh gosh, he did get up, twice this week with one of my daughters because she was coughing and I slept. I'm so thankful for that. So it really is this kind of mutual softening, remembering that we are grateful for each other. We are all doing our best and, really combats things like resentment or those things that can crop up and be so damaging in a marriage. And so, in closing, when we strip away the noise of gratitude, the shoulds, right? The checklist, these actions we're supposed to take, these good manners, when it comes down to it, gratitude is about presence and it's about cultivating an inner emotion of gratitude in your heart center. It is about softening into life as it is and realizing that even when things are not perfect, there is still beauty available in this exact moment. And actually, imperfection is part of that beauty. And when we breathe gratitude into our hearts, we start experiencing differently. We start seeing things differently, and our world begins to expand. As individuals, gratitude can bring us home to joy. It can ground us in the now and what's really important. As parents, we have this gift to see through our children's eyes, to pause and laugh and to marvel alongside them and to make sure that this our kids' natural marvel and awe is not squelched by the rushing, the go, 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 the external world, but really holding space for that and cultivating that so that it continues to live inside them long into adolescence and adulthood. And as leaders, it calls us to recognize the light and the gift in others, to share that so that people feel seen, they feel valued and indispensable. And the ripple effect is real. A moment of real appreciation can shift an entire day. It can shift a meaning, a family dynamic, or even a culture. So here's your invitation this week to take 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes each morning, hand on your heart and feel into one thing, a person, a wonderful memory, something in nature that makes you just grateful to be alive, and sustain that feeling with you. So allow it to infuse your words, your leadership, and your love, because gratitude is not an action. It's not a list of thank yous. It's not something you do or you should do. It starts with an emotional shift by pausing. And ultimately, the more you do that, it is something that you become. And when you live from that place, life, work, and love start to feel just beautiful and precious. And that is what creates that shift. That is what combats depression and anxiety and creates that more permeating joy that exists regardless of what is happening in our external worlds. As things are starting to get busy, where we've got the holidays coming up, everything is just ramping up in at work and at home, I want to share something that I have for you all that could be supportive. Right now, I am offering some free breakthrough coaching slots. Specifically, it is designed to help you end chronic stress and get results as a transformational leader who thrives. So, this has been powerful for participants. It is a one on one conversation that helps you to reconnect with your energy, your priorities, your clarity, and the kind of leadership that feels good again and creates space in your personal life as well. So you can grab your spot using the Calendly link in the show notes, or you can head over to www.leaduphealth.com if you want to learn more. Thank you so much for listening to Burn Beautiful. If today's episode spoke to you, share it with another woman in leadership who might need this reminder. Until next time, take a deep breath, open your heart, and burn beautiful, loves. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this episode sparked something in you, subscribe, and I'd be so grateful if you'd take a moment to rate and review the show. It is the most powerful way to help other women find it. And if you know someone who is struggling or on the edge of burnout or simply wants to lead from wholeness, send this their way. Let's grow this movement together. To get exclusive insights, tools, and behind-the-scenes support, join the HERS Insider List at www.leaduphealth.com. And if you're ready to explore working together, whether through coaching or consulting, you can book a free consultation right from the site. Until next time, burn beautiful, loves.